Welcome to HBCU Her Voice, a place where we celebrate the powerful voices and stories of remarkable women from historically Black colleges and universities. I'm your host, Shanaja Washington, a proud HBCU graduate myself. I'm thrilled to bring you this platform dedicated to amplifying the voice of our community. We dive into inspiring stories of resilience, success, and the incredible impact these women are making in the world. From trailblazing entrepreneurs to innovative leaders, we bring you the stories that matter, showcasing how HBCU experiences shape paths and fuel passions. We'll explore challenges, victories, and wisdom. Whether you're an HBCU alum, a student, faculty member, supporter, or simply someone who believes in the power of diverse voices, we are so glad to have you. So listen up as we share insights, celebrate achievements, and uplift our community. Together, we can inspire the next generation of leaders and ensure our voices are heard loud and clear. A grand welcome to HBCU Her Voice. And just like that, we're back with another amazing episode of the HBCU Her Voice podcast. And you guys know it's no secret. It's one of my favorite places to be because we bring the real stories, the real ladies. And guess what? We've had such a beautiful showcase, really, of diverse experiences. But I am Shanaja Washington, your beautiful host, streaming from the wonderful city of Houston, Texas. And of course, like today, it's like no other. We have another amazing guest here who's really going to give us some information really in the contracting space. But, I don't tell their story. I allow them to do that thing. So she comes to the stage. She does our normal drill, which she tells us where she's from, her name, of course, which HBCU she's repping, and then we get that story. Without any further waiting time, here's my very beautiful guest for today.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. I am bringing you greetings from the city of Atlanta. My name is Kirstyn Allen, and I am a corporate contract strategist repping the illustrious North Carolina A&T State University. Shout out to the Aggies. And I'm so excited to have this conversation here with you today.
Absolutely. So let's jump in first to the HBCU story. Then we're going to weave into this journey of you being a corporate contract strategist. Let's talk about where that journey began, right? How did you get introduced to your school, North Carolina? Was it always in your, kind of wheelhouse, your thought process to go to an HBCU? And then once you got there, tell us about that experience.
Yes, absolutely. So North Carolina A&T found me. I fell in love with the school after going to one of the local student fairs that they were having, recruiting fairs. And once I got there and just experienced what we call Aggie Pride, it was nothing. I get chills just even talking about that experience, because when I attended, I got to know the people, I got to know the school and the history. I knew it was the place that I belonged. And so I came from out of state. I'm originally from Virginia Beach, Virginia. And that's where, I first got exposed to the school. And so as I was preparing to go, I knew that was the place that I needed to be. But of course, I was going out of state. And so I had so many different obstacles against me, from financial, just figuring out how to get there, how to get the student loans, how to see what scholarships they had offered, just all the things. I remember at one point over the summer, literally calling the financial aid office day after day after day, and just trying to make sure I had all my bases covered so that I could get there. I don't come from a wealthy family, so I did not have a college fund set aside for me, trust fund, anything like that. And so I had to do what I had to do. My parents did help me as best as they could, but I knew I needed to be there. So it could have been very easy just to go to community college or even stay in state to some other HBCUs in the area. But again, that moment where I just knew that was the place that I needed to be kept me going through the resilience of all the no's that I had, through all the challenges, through people who were supposed to be going to the university with me as well and decided not to, who had similar situations. I was just very dedicated. And that experience has also led me to the work that I get to do today. So it's very interesting as a full circle moment of having these very defining or these sparks where it's like, this is where I need to be, and whatever I need to do, I'm going to do it. And so through that experience, obviously it worked out well. I was able to stay, I was able to graduate, but the experiences that I had at my university are some of the best that I could ever experience in my life. I had the opportunity to do amazing internships. I was a part of student government. I was a part of many different organizations and opportunities outside of just my curricular activities. And those things shaped me to be able to not only graduate, but have 4 job offers after I graduated. So I got to pick where I wanted to go, but then also just the preparation that I received from the university to be professional, to go in and interview, and to have opportunities where companies were looking for us really sparked the success that I experienced in the future as I began my corporate career and even as I transitioned into entrepreneurship.
Absolutely love it. And, what's so beautiful is that, since we started the series, we all come back with such rich experiences, and people are saying, like, without a shadow of a doubt, those are some of the best times of my life.
Yeah.
Those are some of those really, really foundational blocks for my, career. I did the same thing. I went, through corporate and now entrepreneurship. But for me to kind of have this moment, like you said, even full circle, to come back some years later and still kind of high off the experience,
Yes.
and really being able to share that with so many women, it has been a place of pride for me. So I'm so happy that you shared that. And what a beautiful journey you've had at your alma mater. Now I want to kind of go to this shift, right? You just let us know that at some point, you had the 4 job offers and then you went into the corporate space. Talk a little bit about that corporate space experience, and then also to the transition out of corporate to the place that you are now.
Yes. So I actually started off with a very good career, right? As we go through the story, you'll be able to identify this, but I could have easily stayed at the career and had a great, experience going from there. You'll hear in the background, my 3-year-old son, he's a part of this story as well. But coming out of school and into that corporate space, I was working for a large Fortune 500 tech company, literally one of the biggest in the world. So it was an amazing opportunity. I started off in sales, and I started off pretty much in the bottom. I was on the phones selling to individuals looking for computers for their children going off to school, for their grandkids, whoever it may be. I was on the phones taking those calls to sell those computers. And a lot of that experience, although at the time I wasn't as grateful for it, but it helped me learn how to be quick on my feet with sales, how to build relationships, and how to really understand the entire process of why people buy, which I think is what got me interested in marketing. So my degree was in marketing when I left A&T, and a lot of that was about how people think, how they buy, how they get interested in certain not only products, but initiatives and ideas. And so that experience in sales was translated very early on. And so fast forward a little bit, I was able to work my way up the career ladder. So, how many of us are looking for the American dream? I felt like I was on that fast track. Within about 3 years, I had got to the 6-figure mark, which we all know that's the coveted place that we want to get to. And I had worked my way up to an account executive. So I was traveling all over the Northeast to meet with my university and government clients to sell 6-figure and even $1 million a year contracts. And so in that experience, being, early 20s, speaking to these CEOs, CIOs who have 20, 30, 50 years in the tech industry and coming in as a partner, trying to strategically help them outfit their labs with the appropriate technology, selling them services, all these different things, really showcasing myself, not just as someone who is new to the business, but someone who is actually going to help them be able to achieve their overall organizational goals. I learned those things early on. And so through that experience, again, I appreciated it 100%, but it got to a point in 2021 where I had just had my newborn son at the time. And of course, we know what happened in 2020. And so during that time when I had him, I was keeping him with me. He's been with me his whole entire life because that's just the nature of when he got into this world. And so as 2020 came in, 2021, we began to hear talks of returning fully to work, back to travel. So before then, I was traveling twice a month to meet customers. And again, it was fine when I was single. And then even when I got married, that worked. But after I had my son, and especially during the time period when I had him, that just was not going to work for me. And so what I decided to do at that point was to figure out, like, what is next for me? What is going to help me have it all. I have my son. I want to keep him here with me. And then I also have this ambition and these things that I want to do. And so I actually went back to a moment of when I was a child and I had my first lemonade stand and all these different businesses, and remembered that I have always been interested in entrepreneurship for my entire life. That is truly where I want to be. And again, just like the A&T moment, right? Entrepreneurship was that spark. I just needed to figure out how to get there and be decided that that's where I was going to go. And so at that moment, I wasn't quite ready to go full time into entrepreneurship, but I did change careers to where I could have a fully remote position where I could keep my son and be able to then start my business at the same time. And so in 2021, my company was founded. And it was a lot of things before it got to this corporate contract piece, because I'm sure, as many of you can imagine, when you leave corporate or leave a particular position that kind of has a little heartburn, you just want to leave everything behind and be like, forget this. And so that's how I was in the very beginning. But as I started to sell things and just get my feet in the water of entrepreneurship and began to work with advisors, they began to help me see like, oh, you have these skills. Like, why isn't anybody knowing about this? And I'm like, oh, people don't really care about corporate. Like, people want to know how to make sales on Instagram and all the things. And they're like, no, people want to know about how to sell to corporate. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I tried it out. And the responses that I got as I was doing different pieces of content to date is still overwhelming. And so I was able to take those skill sets that I learned working for a Fortune 500 company, closing those $1 million opportunities, and bring that back to the people that I wanted to serve. So going back to what I said about having it all and defining success for yourself, it wasn't that I just needed to drop everything and not do anything with it. It was, how can I reimagine these skill sets that I have and match it with my passion for entrepreneurship and the people that I desire to serve and the trainings that I want to do, and help them be better because of it. And so that's when what we do today was born. And we were able to create this company where we now help people be able to do this, but not just from the contracting piece. I want to be clear on that. It's not just about landing the big money. It's about taking those skill sets and creating the life that you desire. Many entrepreneurs, they're, trying to figure out, of course, we're out here hustling, grinding, trying to make the sales, right? And some feel that they don't have a place in corporate. And when I heard individuals saying that, it really spoke to my heart, because I believe that everybody does have a place. I know these organizations are hiring people that are sometimes way less qualified than those who are in my community. And so I made it my mission to prove them wrong and show them, yes, you do have a place here. All you need to know is the process and the language. And I got that. So let me share this with you, whether it's through my free content or through people who have come in closer to work with me, to help them understand how they have a place here and how, with some simple steps, they can now turn what they may be doing as a free workshop or a free opportunity into a 5- and 6-figure contract, doing the same work. And so all of that is just about having the confidence. A lot of my clients cite that when they work with me, they experience a up-leveled in confidence. We had a client that went and landed a $25K pitch competition, a grant from a pitch competition. No, that wasn't the work we did together, but her confidence is why she went after that and why she was able to put together a sufficient pitch to win that opportunity. And so those things like that get me excited about the work that I do. And again, it's all about those pieces of my life that have translated into helping individuals experience the same success.
Absolutely. And let me tell you what a beautiful segment. I am incredibly proud of you for, number one, knowing your skill set, right? And knowing what a position is. So many people don't even know the skill set. They're just so busy doing the thing. They haven't diarized the wins. They haven't diarized, oh, this is everything I've been through. They haven't even put the experience on paper. Let's be very clear. Okay. So we're proud of you in that space and that light. The second part of that, there's a bunch of different nuggets in that segment that stood out to me. Kind of going back to the beginning of that, understanding the psychology of a buyer, super important. And sometimes when people are entering entrepreneurship, it's just, I want to do this, because it's my passion, it's the thing. But there's a psychology behind who you're selling to that must be walked in order to close deals. So when you went back to that, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely gonna, pin that and make sure I make a highlight there, because I want to encourage people that we want you to do the thing. We want you to go after the business, but we also too want you to have the strategy behind it so that you're not just spinning your wheels. Super proud. The other thing there was that in 2021, that's when I left corporate too, girl. I left in 2021. I actually left in August of 2021. And I got to do something that a lot of people, I said it several times in this podcast, I got to take just some time off between August 2021 to probably about March or so of 2022. A lot of people don't get that still time. And that still time changed my life forever. I too was dealing with some of the things that you were dealing with. At that time in 2021, my son, he was 3 or 4 when we started COVID. So I was already having a hard time in my corporate career towards the end. And that idea of going back shattered me. Okay. That idea of going back after we had been in close, we had been close knit for a year and a half or so. I was starting to learn my son's learning style. I was actually getting to see him as a child that I didn't get to see prior to the pandemic, because the first year or so, I was working 60 hours a week in a financial services position. That was literally breaking me down. So when I see you as a young woman that says, no, I'm making decisions now for my family, for my future, I commend you and give you roses in this space and encourage you to keep taking the walk. It's so important that a woman of your age group and that looks just like you has the voice to do this. Because that confidence piece, you can't put a number, you can't put a dollar amount on that. I tell people like that's the transformative stuff that gives you the energy and the flow to go out and do all these things. So the fact that you've created a community and like a learning platform around it, like, hey, here's the confidence, and then I'm layering this skill set, helping you pull out yours, is really where the magic happens. So I did not want to go any further in the episode and not be able to give you roses to say, I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you in the stride.
Thank you.
Very proud of you. I hear your son in the back. I'm surprised you haven't heard mine yet. He's 7 and he's here. He's loud and rambunctious. So let's be clear. So you don't have to worry about any of that. That's why the space here matters, because you're having a conversation from a real perspective. You see in the background, she still has to be mama. She still has to do things that's going to market her business. She's on a podcast today. She's still taking the strides. So when I did this podcast, I wanted to make sure that it was authentic enough that you see us in the light that many of us share similar stories like you, but we're still out here getting this thing done. Does that make sense?
It does. And I appreciate you saying all that, because everything that you said is spot on in terms of like the confidence that it takes. The challenging the status quo is another thing that I often say, because for me, I've often felt different, I'll say is the best word, but I felt that I had a different version of success and what it looked like to me than a lot of the peers and people that I was around pretty much my entire life. And so it's not easy to navigate that difference, because oftentimes you're trying to figure out, like, am I crazy? Like, it's weird because the people that I'm supposed to fit in with, I don't fit in with. The people that I actually do fit in with, they're not really, the group either. So a lot of this has been, through my faith for sure. First and foremost, that has helped me see who I am supposed to be, who I'm made to be, and really like dig into that, because otherwise I wouldn't be here talking to you even on this podcast. As I mentioned early on, I could have kept the job. So 2021 was when I started the business. I still was in my career, but I actually just fully left corporate. My last day was last Thursday at the time of this recording. And I could have stayed in the position. Like, it was, as I mentioned, when I talked about the transition, it was fully remote. There was really not a whole lot of issues. It was cushy. It was flexible. We weren't punching time clocks or any of that. They understood I had a son. I could have stayed easily, but my heart, the purpose on my life, what I got the downloads for, was to move into something greater, to serve at a higher level rather than sit and be complacent in a job, yes, that it paid well, and I could have just rolled the wheels off. But that inside was killing me, if I'm honest. It just was not what I knew I could be doing. And so while it was success on the outside, it wasn't success on the inside. And that just created all types of internal conflict. I didn't speak about, after I had my son and just having like postpartum anxiety and panic attacks and all these different things. But all of that started to well up because I wasn't being honest with myself and what I knew I desired and what I knew I was being told to do. And so that definitely takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of connection for me as faith. It may be different things for others. But without that, I would still be settling for the status quo. And even in my message, what I just told you about challenging that, I began to look at, okay, what areas in my life am I still settling for? Because then it just felt something felt incongruent. And so I had to cut the ties. And no, it wasn't all perfect. I didn't have the stacks, flowing in and all the things, but I'm confident enough with what I do have. And again, the direction that I have, that this will be nothing but abundance for me moving forward. And I hope to inspire others that even as a mother, I'm a wife as well. I'm a homeowner. I'm all these different things. I, have to help my dad out who's elderly. I have all the things, but I can still do what I'm called here to do, even if it sounds like a risk on the outside. So.
No, it's all fire in it. And see what happened to me, like even though it got rough, it was that burning on the inside that people don't be wanting to they don't want to talk about that, because that's the real hard part. The real hard part, that self-work. Oh, that's the part that people run from, because it was that unsettling feeling. The same thing that finally pushed me out the door when I was thinking like, oh Lord, am I really ready for this? Like, ooh, like you said, I had a cushy financial services job. Money was coming in. I bought a home in 2019. I had all these different things kind of going on in the pot. And I'm thinking like, oh Lord, I don't know. But he said, until you pick your heart, you can be hard and be unfulfilled over there, or you can pick you're going to have to pick and choose. I'm not going to allow you to straddle. You're going to have to pick or choose. So when I had those hard decisions come in 2021, that's when the real self-work started. That's when the real journey to feeling like that isolating feel that you have talked about. Even the way I'm navigating the space, because you have like, your group of friends that's kind of been around, and then you kind of got your entrepreneur friends, like, but then y'all ain't really on it. Y'all not really committed to it. It's just a bunch of different things that you have to navigate. And that's why it's so important to know oneself and then align with your faith. Because as you continue to go through seasons, guess what? The dynamic is going to keep changing. The dynamic will keep changing. So that importance to knowing and doing that stuff work. What am I settling for? I don't like this. There's an unsettling feeling. You got to work through it. So the fact that you are still walking in that, number one, shows your commitment to your brand, your business. And number two, most important, the commitment to yourself. So you do that and you walk. I don't care how different it is. I don't care if it's the friend different when you were 2 years old. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense anymore. And that's not any hard feelings. That's not any of that. But what that is that Kirstyn Allen is standing firm in who she is and her beliefs, and she's going after what she wants. And she's going to protect her household and make the best decisions for her and her son in her situation. And you have to stand firm with that and do that. So I honor you. I know the fight is not easy. I'm preaching from a place that's pure because I'm walking.
Yeah.
Right. I'm walking and have been walking and readjusting as it relates to finances and building this and building products and building services. And you know exactly what that walk is like.
Yes.
I want to come here because I want people to understand what you do as a corporate contract strategist. You have touched on this, how people work with you, but I want people to know how that process works. Is this like a mentorship where they're with you like a few months, or do you just kind of do schedule like one-on-one calls? Just walk us through how they could potentially work with you if they were a client or a prospective client that wanted to learn more about landing corporate contracts.
Yes, absolutely. So there are many different ways. The key way that I'll talk about, because this is really the most transformative, is when individuals can work with me anywhere from 6 to 12 months. Because yes, we can get your process up and ready to go for you to start going after these opportunities within 90 days. But the transformational part happens when you actually start getting some opportunities, when you're getting responses. And then you can come back and say, hey, I have to put together this proposal, or they responded in this particular way. What's the best way that I go after this, and be able to get support along the way as you're building the muscle. Many of our clients, even all the way up to the 7-figure level, right? They've been very good in what they do and their expertise. So there's no denying that. It's now about how do I translate that into corporate? And that's where me and also my team come in to provide that support. And so we do that through our coaching sessions. We provide you with the information and structure that you need to understand what it looks like to put together a contract, what it looks like to position your offers, what you already have, right? So we don't go and recreate the wheel. We take what you have and bring it into a corporate context, I like to say. And so again, we do that through our coaching. We also have opportunities for people that are just kind of getting started and want to figure out how they can do that on their own through our monthly membership and quarterly boot camp programs. So those are some examples. But at the heart of what we do at whatever level you work with us is all about the access. But your overall goal is to get everything that you need, paperwork wise, mindset wise, everything prepared to go after corporate contracts. And that is circulating around what you will offer, how you will find leads, and how you will close the sales. Those are the 3 tenets that we focus on at any level that you're working with us at.
I love it. And I think that 6 to 12 months is really a sweet spot because, like you said, of course, working with the companies. And also, too, what I like what you just said was like, we're not starting from scratch. Using what you have. And I think so many people think that they have to scrap the whole thing. We have to do this thing. There are parts to pull out that you're currently working with just to make it more, I don't know, we talk about the buyer, something that a corporate buyer would want, I should say. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? Because it's definitely levels to it. And when I look back, when I was in my corporate career and I changed to entrepreneurship, I'm like, listen, people, these corporate folk buy everything. Everything. Kirstyn, you know that because I had to think back. I was like, and I was thinking about all these events, all these training, all these t-shirts, all these
catering, everything.
Yeah. And I think that also too kind of deters people that have certain types of business thinking that I don't have something that could fit in. Any and everything that you think about running your business and things of that nature, supplies, everything. I just want you to know, and she can back me up, that these people have a wide array of different things that they purchase. I just want to be clear on that so that if people are watching you thinking like, I don't know, talk to us.
And another thing too, that as you mentioned, that is that these companies have funds set aside to do business with small businesses, women-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned, all types of minority or certain disability statuses. They have money set aside, like to the tune sometimes of hundreds of thousands of dollars that they need to spend with these organizations. And here's the thing, oftentimes they can't find the right people to spend it with. They don't have people who are in front of them that are prepared with their capability statement, and just ready to go in order to do business with corporations. And so that money just goes away. Right? It's expired. It's unutilized. And as that continues to go on, then these organizations reduce those budgets that they set aside for organizations like many of us who are probably listening to this podcast today. So not only if you don't take advantage of this, are you missing out on, creating opportunities for yourself, but you're missing out on dollars that they would pretty much not give you. You got to be prepared, which is with the work that we do, but you don't have to create money out of anywhere. The money is already there and they're looking for people to be able to contract with to get the work and services that they need. And so we have to get positioned for it. It's too much money being left on the table.
I love it. And I'm so happy that you touched on it. We're starting that journey a little bit here with different things that I've done. I've done some subbing and things of that sort. So yeah, I'm so happy that you're here to provide this context or whatever. And to be honest, I love that you are in the age that you are. I love that you're a new mother. I love that there are all these different things around how you're navigating this space, because you make it be a reality that it can happen for you. So thanks for that. Now, please tell us where we can find you on social media. Give us a website, perhaps, to, where they can sign up, if they want to potentially become a client. Any contact details you want to give here, please provide it so that our listeners and viewers can connect with you.
Absolutely. So the best place to connect with me is over on Facebook. You should see me under Kirstyn J. Allen. If we are able to provide links, I will share that. You can also find me over on LinkedIn, same name, Kirstyn Allen. I am on Instagram from time to time, but between Facebook and LinkedIn, that's where you'll find me. Our website is kirstynjallen.com, which you'll see my name here. And there you'll be able to find a ton of resources. But what I would love for you all to do is go to kirstynjallen.com/free gift. And I have a training for you all, which is the 7 mistakes that most entrepreneurs make when going after corporate contracts, so that you can make sure you're not making any of these mistakes, and share the strategies that I give for you in this free training to be able to get your business prepared. And so take advantage of that. And then you'll also be able to see options to work with us on our website and especially on our social media pages. We would love to serve you. And again, the free training is going to be a great place to get started if you're just trying to figure out where you land.
I absolutely love it. And I really think this conversation probably could have went on for at least another hour. There's so many different things that we could have talked about. And I told her, I said, girl, that 30 minutes, we gonna look up and it's going to fly by. But the show is designed to be that way. But this is the part of our show where we cue over to our guests for final thoughts. I tell them, if someone catches nothing, all they do is catch this one segment, I want you to give us some good words for final parting words, and also to give us something that captures the essence of Kirstyn Allen. I'm queuing over to you for final thoughts.
Yes. So final thoughts is, for me, what I've learned is the risk, the thing that you may feel like is the biggest risk could be the release into your next level. That is the essence of me, from my story that I told about going to my dream university, to purchasing my dream home, to now living in my dream business. It has all seemed like a risk on the surface, but it was literally the unlocking to my next level. And that is not only the story of my life, but that's what I infuse into everything that we do in this business, is that we want to help you unlock that next release. We want to help you be in a place where your life is changed because of what you've been able to create in your business through life-changing contracts. And so that's what I'll leave you with today.
Listen, I have to tell you again, I am incredibly proud of you. I'm incredibly proud of you. I am speaking life over your journey. I am speaking life over your connections, and life over whatever you have in your heart that you desire. You go full force. That is my declaration for you today. But let me tell you guys, in the HBCU Her Voice land, it's been a fabulous episode, right? I told you, I don't skimp on my guests, right? We get them here, we get the information, and I am so honored that you guys have tuned in today. I never leave this place without saying that I love you. And transformative things happen when you let your voice shine. And really, I'll be back in no time with another amazing woman on the HBCU Her Voice podcast. But until that time, we're out.
Thank you.